Hello everyone, welcome to Chetan Bharat Learning. My name is Abhishek Sharma and today we are going to discuss one of the critical things that you need for UPSC Civil Services, how to study current affairs. Now, we all have been struggling with it. The selected candidates and the freshers all have trouble with what to study, from where to study, how much to study, is that source good, is this source good? So these are the kind of queries that I'm going to address. But the most important thing that I'm going to address in the last part of this video is how to consolidate these current affairs, how to actually utilize them, how to make them your strength and not your weakness. This is the core thing that we want to deal with at Chetan Bharat Learning for you. Now, you all must have looked at Frontline, Hindu, Indian Express. Somebody says this is good, somebody says that is good. See, as it is, every source is all right, as far as you know how to use it. Now, over the years of teaching for UPSC Civil Services, I have come across certain questions that students ask about current affairs, and I would like to share those questions with you before beginning into what is the solution for the current affairs problem. Now, as far as the current affairs are concerned, so these are the questions. So first, and a very obvious question is, why current affairs? Isn't the static portion enough? This was the thing when we talked about the older pattern of the syllabus. But since in the new and evolving pattern of UPSC, current affairs are finding an increasing relevance in your prelims, mains and interview, all three portions. So you have to study current affairs. There is no way out. So that's why current affairs, if you look at the prelims part, at least 10 to 15 questions you will find on an year-on-year basis from current affairs, or even the static portions sometimes find their reflection or the mirror image in the current affairs that are happening from day-to-day basis. Then, if you go to the mains examination, the GS papers 1, 2, 3, at least, these three papers have a strong fundamental basis in current affairs today. And most of the time, they are asked in that contextual setting. Even if there is a static question and you put some current affair information into it, you are able to correlate that information, maybe even in the ethics paper, that will definitely raise your score as compared to your fellow competitors. So therefore, having current affairs with you can be your strength in mains as well, and that strength definitely reflects in all the candidates who are succeeding in scoring high ranks in UPSC Civil Services. Now, as far as the interview is concerned, there too the board wants an answer that is grounded in the contextual reality of our country, in the current affairs of the country. So that is what current affairs can do for you, and it can be your strength for UPSC Civil Services. And by the end of this video, you will realize how this strength you can cultivate on daily basis and really make it your own. Okay. Now, the second question is how to identify UPSC relevant current affairs. Well, this is a question you will be, we'll be addressing in the second part of the video where I'll tell you how to consolidate them. But for you, the simple answer here is that syllabus is the key. Once you identify your syllabus, the topics therein, you will be able to identify what particular things of current affairs you have to take up, what is relevant and what is irrelevant will be very clear to you. Just read your syllabus 2 to 3 times and it's easy and a smooth ride thereon. Then, how much time to the current affairs can you be devoting on a daily basis? Generally, we all say 1 hour per day. But what happens? When you are a beginner, you don't know what to pick, what to leave. Everything is important in current affairs. So, I remember my days picking up Hindu early in the morning and sometimes around afternoon I used to finish it and still feel editorial reh gaya. Still feel पढ़ तो लिया अब इसमें से कल तक याद रहेगा या नहीं. So these are the questions that always haunted me and maybe haunting many of you also. So my solution to all this is catering to all these needs also. But for now, the answer to the question, how much time to the current affairs? So generally 1 hour you can spend reading any newspaper that you love reading, which is of a national level. Okay. Don't read your regional newspapers. That's not required for you. Maybe for state civil services, that is good. But for UPSC civil services, you must stick to a national newspaper, a standardized newspaper. Okay, just read that one and give us 2 hours of your day daily. I'll tell you how to study current affairs. We'll be starting a current affair batch also. I'll tell you about that as well, as to how you can basically ready your current affairs with us at Chetan Bharat Learning, how that solution can really come for you. Okay, then information versus the concept and how to study current affairs. So I would like to take these questions simultaneously. So as far as how to study the current affairs, the process as to what to observe, what to pick as an information, again draws simply from your syllabus, again draws simply from the content that is provided to you, what areas may be active for you. These are the things that you have to take into consideration. Information is good. Once we take up facts from here and there, that's okay. But ultimately, that information has to be grounded in a particular conceptual base. Once that conceptual base is strong, you would look at a headline and you will make out, okay, isme ye kaha hoga. Like most of the time, we are now able to predict just by looking at a headline that where does this particular current affair lead the conceptual base that I have already created for my discipline. For example, if you have read about growth and development, if you know what is GDP, and then some particular figure comes in that now the India's GDP will contract by -4%, something like this. Now, at that point of time, you're able to realize what is actually going to happen. And you know whether this particular current affair I'm able to, or I should be carrying in the examination, or just leave it there. It is not that important. Okay. Once your conceptual base is strong, the information should act as a value addition narrative and not as an overload for your current affair maturity. Okay. Now, next, can gists and notes be the substitute? Well, if you're looking for substitutes, yes. If you're running short of time, yes. But there is no substitute to hard work, as you will listen again and again in the UPSC mentorship program, because unless and until you read a simple newspaper on a daily basis for 1 hour, you are not engaging yourself at an active level with the information that is coming your way. If you're just moving with gists and maybe gists of gists and then maybe video lectures of those gists, then you are just becoming yet another passive learner of information and you don't know where to put it. Okay. Once you engage with the newspaper on a daily basis, very important, your faculties of mind, which are now getting activated while reading that newspaper, are very important development of your overall intellectual capability to deal with this examination. Okay. Now, next, what other sources? Oh, there are multiple. Just as the image that I showed you, there are a plethora of sources. Maybe the Frontline as a magazine, Down to Earth, Science Reported, World Focus, योजना, कुरुक्षेत्र. आप नाम लेते जाइए, कोई भी ऐसा नहीं बोलेगा कि ये irrelevant है. सबको पता है कि ये relevant है. Then newspapers पे आ जाओ. So there is Indian Express, there is Hindu, then there is Press Information Bureau of India, Economic Times, Rajya Sabha TV, and then if you go for another, authentic kind of informations or new things that you want to see, then maybe Economic and Political Weekly, PRS Legal Research, always good, then Economic Survey, of course, the budget document, and maybe on top of this, Niti Aayog 3-year annual action agenda, some kind of report that keeps on coming one day or the other. All these are the sources. And on top of that, you might be getting Ministry of Home Affairs report for maybe security, then Ministry of External Affairs report maybe for international relations. All these annual reports are also coming in. So there is a plethora of information. Now, how to deal with all this information? Let's take you one step ahead. How can we help? Now, we at Chetan Bharat Learning are trying to develop a program for you which is wanting you to invest just 1 hour in reading a daily newspaper that you are reading. It should be of a national level. That's all that we expect from you. Rest, spend 1.5 to 2 hours with us on a daily basis, and we will develop your current affairs in such a beautiful way that they will add a strength to your competitive success, and rather than piling you up with the information. One small glimpse of that particular course that we are going to begin for current affairs, I'm going to share with you in this video. And that is essentially the narrative within which we want you to study the current affairs and develop yourself intellectually so that you are really able to use the information that is coming in your way and utilize that for the best score in the examination. Now, taking you to the board, and I would like you to pick up your pen and paper before you watch the next section of this video. Okay, so the whole UPSC Civil Services examination syllabus, if you look at it carefully, the whole things that you study in the 12 components are revolving around 3 basic aspects: people, process, and institutions. People, process, and institutions. And in these 3, the UPSC wants us to build 4 basic sensitivities. Okay? 4 basic sensitivities. These sensitivities are social, political, economic, and cultural. Culture, not your art and culture. Culture, the cultural ethos. Okay, so the social sensitivity, listen carefully, this is going to be interesting for all of you. Political, economic, and the cultural. Again, I'm saying not your art and culture cultural, the cultural ethos. Now, when you study about people, maybe revolt of 1857, maybe democracy, maybe your history, maybe anything, you are always studying about people. You are being made consciously aware maybe of our freedom fighters, maybe about the people in news these days, what they did, what they achieved, so how they contributed to your social religious reform aspect, etc., etc. Today also people are part of democracy and so on. So you would notice that people, whenever you study about them, are either causing something to happen, or they are getting affected by it, or they participate in a particular thing, maybe from within, maybe from outside, or they are mere witness to a particular thing which is happening. That may be your current affair, that may be a historical moment, anything. I hope you have your pen and paper intact, because unless you write it, you will not be able to understand it. Okay? As far as the process is concerned, every process that you will come across and study in UPSC Civil Services, you would try to establish 4 basic qualities in that particular process. This thing has been coming out of the teaching experience that we have created for the last 10 years, and it has really helped the students gain beautiful marks in UPSC Civil Services examination. Okay, so as a process, we would require a process to be clear. आज आपने यूपीएससी की तैयारी शुरू करनी है, क्या आप नहीं चाहेंगे कि आपको क्लियरली पता हो कि भाई सिलेबस क्या है, कौन सी किताब पढ़नी है? तो ये क्लैरिटी पहले दिन ही मस्ट है कोई भी प्रोसेस के स्टार्टिंग में, और अगर वो क्लैरिटी नहीं है तो वो प्रोसेस खराब होगा ही। आप रिवोल्ट ऑफ 1857 हिस्ट्री के अंदर पढ़ोगे, तो अगर लैक ऑफ क्लैरिटी थी तो इसी वजह से तो वो रिवोल्ट वो चीजें नहीं अचीव कर पाया जो लेके लोग करना चाहते थे, है ना? इसी तरह से और भी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, डेमोक्रेसी है, पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप है, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस है, फॉरेन ट्रेड है, पॉलिसीज हैं। हर जगह अगर एक प्रोसेस काम कर रहा है तो पहली रिक्वायरमेंट उसके लिए है क्लैरिटी, है ना? हम हर वर्ड पे आएंगे। आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल आल्सो एंड वी विल डिस्कस इट, एंड अल्टीमेटली यू नो हाउ टू पुट योर करंट अफेयर्स इनटू अ सर्टेन पर्सपेक्टिव, हाउ टू इंप्रूव योर आंसर राइटिंग, हाउ टू डील विद एसेज। जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन जहां से भी आप पढ़ रहे हो उसको एक्चुअल में यूटिलाइज कैसे करना है उसको आप बहुत अच्छे से समराइज कर पाएंगे। Then the second requirement for a process is to be complete, because an incomplete process is useless. Yeah. Then अब आपके प्री मेन हो रहा है, इंटरव्यू हो नहीं रहा, तो क्या फायदा ना? Then rational. This is another requirement for a process. It has to be rational. It has to have a mean-end correlation. Yeah. Then inclusive. Because if a process is not inclusive, it is exclusive in nature, then many things are going to create repercussions within that process which we want to avoid. Okay, then institutions. Now, as far as institutions are concerned, there are certain quality checks that we want in those institutions. We would want them to have always. These include that they should be accessible, the institutions should be affordable, they should be enabling, and they should be catalytic. So essentially, how many words do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 3, 15, and essentially again 5 here. This is the 20-word matrix. If you now start using this matrix, this can add much more armor to your strength, to your arsenal in terms of UPSC Civil Services Examination. अब आप अपने UPSC सिलेबस में से कोई भी पॉइंट उठाइए, कोई भी पॉइंट उठाइए, कोई भी टॉपिक उठाइए, करंट अफेयर में से भी कोई भी टॉपिक उठा लीजिए। अब उस टॉपिक को आपको इसके अंदर सिंथेसाइज करना है। मैं थोड़ा सा आपका टाइम दूंगा, लेकिन वो जो टाइम है आप उसको एंजॉय करेंगे, ये मैं गारंटी देता हूं। और आप अल्टीमेटली अगर इसको यूज करेंगे अपनी तैयारी के अंदर, अपनी आंसर राइटिंग के अंदर, तो बाद में ना ये फीलिंग नहीं आएगी कि जब मैं आंसर लिख रहा था तो ये वाले पॉइंट मुझे आते थे लेकिन छूट गए, मैं तो सोच ही नहीं पाया उस टाइम पे। पेपर देने के बाद बंदा ये रियलाइज करता है, ऐसे लिखने के बाद ये रियलाइज करता है मैं ये भी तो लिख सकता था, मैंने उस टाइम पे लिखा क्यों नहीं, मेरा दिमाग चला क्यों नहीं। सो ये जो चीजें हैं ना, इससे आपको निजात मिलेगा, आजादी मिलेगी अगर आप ये मॉडल ठीक से सीख गए और यूज कर पाए तो। वी विल हेल्प यू इन यूटिलाइजिंग दिस मॉडल ऑन अ डेली बेसिस इन आवर करंट अफेयर लेक्चर्स एज वेल। ओके, बट फॉर नाउ अ सिंपल एग्जांपल, मे बी आप सबको पता ही होगा, प्रेशर ग्रुप्स। लेट्स टेक वन एग्जांपल, प्रेशर ग्रुप्स। ऐसे ही आप लेना चाहते हो तो मॉनसून अब आने वाला है ना, फिर इसी तरह से कोई भी एक प्रोसेस आप ले सकते हो, कुछ भी। अब लेट्स से प्रेशर ग्रुप्स हम इसकी बात करते हैं, सिंपल एग्जांपल। तो आमतौर पे प्रेशर ग्रुप्स आप पढ़ते हो जीएस पेपर 2 पॉलिटी एंड गवर्नेंस, है ना। लेकिन प्रेशर ग्रुप्स के बारे में जब भी पढ़ते हैं तो क्या उसमें पीपल, प्रोसेस और इंस्टीट्यूशंस इन्वॉल्व नहीं है? बिल्कुल है। क्या बिना पीपल के प्रेशर ग्रुप बनता है? नहीं बनता। और पीपल एक्चुअली बिकम आइदर द कॉजिंग एजेंट्स, अफेक्टेड पार्टीज, पार्टिसिपेटिंग, और जस्ट merely witnessing the functioning of a particular pressure group. Similarly, pressure groups adopt a certain process to achieve their ends. Maybe it is Greenpeace, maybe it is Narmada Bachao Andolan, maybe it is Greta Thunberg these days. So they essentially create their own process which must be clear, complete, rational and inclusive for them to really make a difference in the political gambit that they are trying to achieve. Okay, then in terms of institutional aspects, pressure groups themselves are trying to create an institutionalization for themselves, and they are trying to create a change in the ongoing working of the institutions. Maybe they make the institutions more accessible. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मजदूर कृषि सशक्तिकरण संगठन, आप सबने शायद इसका नाम सुना होगा। नाउ बैक इन द डे इट वाज फंक्शनिंग लाइक अ प्रेशर ग्रुप ओनली, एंड इट वर्कड फॉर राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन एक्ट. नाउ इट मेड दैट इंफॉर्मेशन मोर एक्सेसिबल विद इन द गवर्नेंस इंस्टीट्यूशंस टू एन एक्सटेंट दैट टुडे इट इज योर फंडामेंटल राइट. It made that information more affordable. It made that information more enabling, and it made it catalytic for the overall good governance that you wanted to achieve in this country. ये तो छोटा सा पार्ट था. अब इसी के permutation combination बनाने शुरू करो. The pressure groups are creating a social, political, economic, and cultural ethos within the country. These are the kind of sensitivities that should become activated within you when you study about pressure groups, when you hear in current affairs that today this particular speech was given by this particular pressure group wanting to achieve this particular end. These are the kind of sensitivities you should bring out. And these are the sensitivities that are getting tested in your UPSC syllabus as well. You see, in your GS paper 1, isn't this the sensitivity getting tested? The social issues? Similarly, in GS paper 2, the political sensitivity. In GS paper 3, the economic sensitivity. In GS paper 4, the cultural ethos is getting tested. So that is what we are talking about here. Every single current affair topic is continuously trying to bring up certain kind of sensitivities within you. Your UPSC syllabus is trying to build up those sensitivities within you so that you can become a capable civil services officer. Yes. For example, I'll build again on this pressure groups itself. So pressure groups are very much a social cohesion coming together to create a certain kind of cause for people. Yeah. So they will carry forward that social cause and maybe try to create a clear process which can make your institutions more accessible. They are trying to create a certain kind of effect at social level for the people, which may complete those agendas which have been left incomplete by the previous government organizations and make certain things more affordable for them at a political, economic, or cultural level. For example, you going to a particular temple. Yeah. So whether that is affordable for you at a social level or not, then these will help ensure certain kind of participativeness in the process of democracy. So they will make the social participativeness more enriched, thereby increasing the rationality, thereby enabling the goals of good governance in the institutions. They are creating a change that we all witness as people at national and international level, creating a more inclusive process for all of us. Today, if Greta Thunberg says something about environment and biodiversity and climate change, definitely it is going to affect also all of us, yeah, and is catalytic in creating the institutions which are more sensitized, which are more aware. Okay, I've just covered the social dimension. I can similarly go for the political dimension. Okay, so pressure groups can create or galvanize the political cause of the people. They can affect, they can participate or enhance political participation, and we will witness the political change that comes in. And similarly, improve upon the political process by making it more clear, complete, rational, or inclusive, or simply make the political institutions accessible, affordable, and so on. Similarly, at the economic level and the cultural level. I hope you're getting a sense of it now. So we just talked about one particular thing, pressure groups. And you look across the newspapers, here and there you would find farmer associations coming out in protest against the government, against some ordinance that the government would pass, against some particular reform that the government would create. So now, how those things are to be put into perspective, the random information that is getting thrown at you, how you should put it into perspective, where is that to be put in place? This is the 20-word matrix that you have to learn with us step by step. Learn it yourself, your own level as well. Okay, so try and just utilize it. Try to run your mind across. If not pressure groups, let's take monsoon. So even monsoon affects people, process, and institutions, and the people at social, political, economic, and cultural level would get affected by monsoon in a different manner. There are various processes in the monsoon itself. The institutions are involved in, modeling the monsoon at the local and international level. Anything that you start thinking in this way, maybe it is technical in nature, maybe it is theoretical in nature, you can at least use some or whole of this matrix to essentially put that information in order for yourself and then utilize it for your current affairs learning, so that this information actually equips you and rather than disrupts your learning process. Okay, this is what we are trying to build at Chetan Bharat Learning for all of you. In the current affair course that we will be giving you, these are the kind of models that we'll be following. This is where we'll start putting the information when we are discussing the means answer writing part, when we are discussing the prelims aspect, when we are discussing a particular current affair. This is how we will take it up. And ultimately, the information that you that comes across your reference in any way should be studied in this manner only. Okay, so all the best, and henceforth I hope that you will be enjoying the current affair that you study, the newspaper that you study. Try and observe these small things, the patterns that emerge, because these small patterns make a long and definite change, make a impactful change in how you're going to perform in your examination, how you're going to condition yourself as a personality, how you're going to become a civil servant. Thank you so much. This is me, Abhishek Sharma, signing off.